Ferrari 458 Spider 2015 car review. If you're of the mindset that fast convertibles offer little beyond rapid in a straight line, wind in the hair enjoyment, then the Ferrari 458 Spider is the car to make you think again. Roof up or, to hear that snarling V8 at its best, down. The 458 Spider delivers a thrillingly engaging driving experience that will put a smile on your face mile after mile. Not only will you feel immensely satisfied behind the wheel, other drivers mirror your ear-to-ear grin as they pull alongside to admire the sensuously curved bodywork. Even at these higher echelons of the convertible market, Ferrari doesn't have it all its own way. Although they offer different experiences behind the wheel, Bentley's Continental GTC, McLaren's 650S Spider and Porsche's 911 Turbo Cabriolet vie for the attention of buyers within the region of £200,000 to spend. Performance, whether cruising sun-kissed boulevards or pounding a challenging track, Ferrari 458 Spider performance deeply impresses. Accessible performance, metaphorically and literally at the Spider's heart, given its location in the middle of the car, beats a 4.5-litre V8 engine, giving the convertible its 458 name. There are no turbochargers fitted to the 4.499cc engine to assist in the generation of 562 bhp. Instead, it's a free-ring, rapidly linear rush of speed as the Ferrari's motor roars towards its 9,000 revolutions per minute treadline maximum. It's enough to propel the 458 Spider to just over 199 miles per hour, but more impressive than that is how quickly it gains momentum. With 540 Newton-meters of torque at your right foot's command, eye-widening acceleration is a given. That the Ferrari doesn't deliver its peak pulling power until 6,000 revolutions per minute ensures your ears are treated to a resonant V8 rumble as the velocity increases. How quick? It'll cover 0.62 miles per hour in less than 3.4 seconds. Doubling the speed target to 124 miles per hour takes under 10.8 seconds from standstill. It feels fast too. Scenery blurs past, air whooshes over your head, the engine's grunt eggs you on from behind, telltale vibrations communicate the 458 status through the wheel and seat. This Ferrari is a sensory delight. As much as you'd want to, driving the 458 Spider quickly simply isn't possible all of the time. There are occasions when you need to venture into urban areas and mix it with slow-moving traffic. This is far from a daunting prospect, the Ferrari responding appropriately to gentle caresses of the throttle pedal, ensuring it's smooth to pilot in built-up areas. That experience is heightened as the crackling exhaust note echoes off surrounding shop fronts and offices' blocks. 7-speed Formula One-style gearbox, a great engine's potential is stymied without a transmission that does it justice. Fortunately, Ferrari has blessed the 458 Spider with a superb 7-speed gearbox. Technically, this is a manual transmission with 2 clutches, but you'll notice it is neither a conventional gear lever or a clutch pedal. It can be driven as an automatic too. Manual changes are controlled by the large pedals behind the steering wheel, the right side for up changes, the left for down. In so many sports cars, those pedals are superfluous, neither a tactile pleasure nor adding much to the driving experience. Not so with the 458 Spider, where there's a genuine satisfaction derived from pulling the perfectly weighted and delightful touch levers. Its split personality means it works very effectively as an automatic too, with no lurching between ratios whether changing gears at higher speeds or when in town dealing with stop-start traffic. Selecting auto mode is actioned via a push button on the center console. Alpha reverse is next to it. Launch control, on occasions where maximizing traction off the line is the chief requisite, the 458 Spider's launch control comes into its own. Press the launch button on the center console next to the ones for automatic mode and reverse. Hold the brake pedal with your left foot and raise the engine revs with your right. As you release the left pedal, the Ferrari surges forward. The electronic system's minimizing wheel spin to ensure as little forward motion as possible is lost as the rear wheels get traction, offering the best possible getaway regardless of road surface. Handling. Combine a convertible sports car weighing just 1,535 kilograms, with 58% of its mass over the rear and 562 bhp. You've got a recipe for enthralling handling, and that's exactly what the Ferrari 458 Spider delivers. Handling demands respect. Look at the performance figures on paper and it would be easy to dismiss this Ferrari as a weapon for going quickly in a straight line but less satisfyingly around corners. Not a bit of it. This is one powerful and playful sports car that will swap hands on you if you don't handle it with the delicacy it demands and deserves. Forget notions of grabbing the 458 Spider by the scruff of the neck and manhandling it forcefully through bends. For this Ferrari responds best to fluid, considered movements. Tease the accelerator with a little more pressure than is necessary around familiar bends, and the rear mischievously responds by stepping progressively and controllably away from the path established by the front wheels. Ferrari has struck a fine balance with the steering's weighting too, feeling neither too light or unnecessarily heavy, yet consistently channeling a level of communication about what the front wheels are up to. You feel constantly tuned into their grip levels. 5 driving modes, proving that the 458 Spider is no electric stallion. Its different driving modes adjusted using the steering wheel-mounted racing Manettino control vary the degree of electronic intervention, suspension stiffness and throttle responsiveness depending on the driver's requirements in different conditions. Selecting web mode sees all the controls switched to maximum, complemented by the suspension dampers being in their most forgivingly compliant setting. Here the Spider is at its easiest to drive in all conditions, but also at its least satisfying on dry, high-grip surfaces. Sport and race respectively ease the effects of traction and stability control, but they will present themselves if the Ferrari senses the driver is about to lose control. Race mode. A greasy road surface and temperatures barely above freezing will soon have many drivers realizing the limits of their own abilities, as well as becoming familiar with where the electronics intervene. Best reserved for track action are CT off and escape off, switching off the traction control only, and then the electronic stability software too, respectively. With no contemporary wizardry to spare your blushes, the latter setting in particular is purely man and machine. Adaptive suspension, suspending each of the 20-inch alloy wheels shod with very low-profile grip-boosting tires, is a sophisticated arrangement with magnetically controlled dampers. Ferrari calls the system magnet or rheological suspension control 2, or SCM2, where a viscous fluid inside the damper is measured and adjusted magnetically every millisecond to maintain desired ride characteristics. The more intense the setting chosen on the Manettino, the firmer the dampers, but this can be overridden to deliver a more compliant ride. Boosting traction levels. Ferrari's F430 electronic differential works seamlessly with Ferrari's advanced F1 track, an intelligent traction control system that not only meters power to the rear wheels based on how much grip they have at that given moment, but also how much the software anticipates they'll have, based on measurements taken from elsewhere in the car, such as cornering forces, steering angle, throttle position, among others. The result is exit speeds from corners and on looser surfaces which seem barely comprehensible. A lighter, prodigiously powerful carbon ceramic brakes, sporting 398mm diameter discs up front and 360mm at the back, is Ferrari's high-performance ABS system. Giving that some context, The 458 Spider should brake to a complete standstill from 62 miles per hour in just 32.8 meters, whereas the highway code suggests 55 meters for a typical car. Spend just a few minutes behind the wheel of the Ferrari 458 Spider and the intoxicating nature of its handling has you hooked. Typical, it isn't. Equipment. From launch there has only been one standard specification of 458 Spider, not that any Ferrari could justifiably refer to as standard. Standard Ferrari 458 Spider equipment. If you decide not to personalize your 458 Spider in any way at all, you'll be close to unique because for several years every Ferrari to leave its Maranello factory has had some kind of optional equipment or detailing added to its roster of equipment. Not only is this because buyers want to make the memorable experience of purchasing their Ferrari even more special, it's because for a car approaching £200,000 to buy, some equipment that we take for granted in cars costing a mere fraction of that is not included. What the 458 Spider does come equipped with includes leather upholstery, dual zone climate control, the toe-piece electrically folding hardtop, a detailed infotainment and trip computer system, Bluetooth connectivity, LED lighting elements front and rear, 20-inch alloy wheels, the racing Manettino with 5 handling modes, adaptive suspension, and an anti-theft tracking system including a year's UK subscription. Optional Ferrari 458 Spider accessories. Digging deeper and deeper into the Ferrari options catalogue, it's possible to spend the same as the original purchase price of the car, again personalizing it to your specific requirements. Browsing the Carrozzeria Scaglietti list of options should provide the personalization elixir Ferrari customers crave. Don't like the standard paint colors? There are numerous alternatives to choose from, including a selection from Ferrari's historic palette. Not only that, but there's a plethora of choices for the brake caliper colors, the alloy wheel finishes, the hues for the leather and Alcantara interiors, the seatbelts and even for the rev counter. Carbon fiber, nodding to Ferrari's use of the expensive material in its racing cars for over 30 years. Can adorn the exterior and interior, including the steering wheel where you can also have it inset with F1-style gear change indicator lights. Once you've decided what color and where exactly you'd like the two-seater cabin trimmed in leather or carbon fiber, you've got the more pointed question of what equipment do you need in your 458 Spider. Ferrari's stop-start system lowers CO2 emissions and improves fuel consumption, but it costs more, as will an electrically adjustable steering column, sat-nav, cruise control, adaptive headlights and a convenient system to lift the nose higher when negotiating speed bumps. Parking sensors, a reversing camera, tire pressure monitors, automatically dipping mirrors and even an iPod connection are also on the extras list. And that's before you've considered purposely designed leather suitcases and golf bags. If perusing those available options somehow still doesn't make your 458 Spider exactly how you want it, Ferrari offers 2 bespoke programs, special requests and tailor-made. But in reality you're committing to spending at least £35,000. Comfort. Usually cars with larger wheels and shallow sidewall tires suffer from an overly firm ride quality, but standard adaptive dampers help deliver positive Ferrari 458 Spider comfort levels. Not that you opt for an engaging sports car specifically because of its corseting ride. It's nevertheless a welcome attribute in the Ferrari's favor. Altering the sportiness of the racing Manettino's settings stiffens the suspension, but this can be overridden for even greater levels of compliance and comfort. Embracingly supportive seats offer excellent adjustability despite being installed necessarily low in the car, although electrical versions do cost extra, as do hip-hugging racing alternatives. Two-seater sports cars have a reputation for being cramped and, with the roof raised, claustrophobic. but these aren't criticisms you can level at the 458 Spider. Ferrari claims occupants up to 6 feet 4 inches will be able to sit comfortably, aided by the double curvature in the folding hardtop, liberating extra headroom that simply wouldn't be possible with a traditional fabric hood. Elbow space and legroom also feel generous, the latter particularly so on the passenger side, where the scalloped-out dashboard makes the cabin feel even airier. Roof down and with the electric rear window raised to act as a wind deflector, the cabin remains free from buffeting. Even at higher speeds it's quiet enough to use the Bluetooth connection for phone calls without having to shout or repeat yourself. Flick the switch and 14 seconds later the lid is securely back in place. Dual zone climate control, allowing each occupant to get their temperatures just so. Luxuriate in leather and Alcantara surroundings, and feel very special indeed. Practicality. If the inherent comfort levels are surprising, Ferrari 458 Spider Practicality is startling for a prestigious, two-seater sports car. Everything's relative though, and given the 458's dimensions ensure it takes up more road space than a ubiquitous Ford Focus, you'd expect it to have space within its sensuous bodywork for more than a pair of seats and a large V8 engine behind them. Pop the bonnet within the Spider's shallow nose and you'll reveal a 230-litre carpeted boot space. It's far from the last word in stowage supremacy, but you'll easily manage a couple of airliner overhead locker cases in there, or a weekly shop for two from Harrods Food Hall. Should you need more space, there's a further 58 litres available behind the front seats. Naturally, as this area is slightly more exposed, you may wish to spend extra and opt for the purposely designed suitcases or a golf bag trimmed to match the interior leather colors. There's ample space in the cabin for two large adults to sit very comfortably with plenty of space to luxuriate in, particularly on the passenger side. The curvature of the folding hardtop ensures it doesn't feel too cramped in the two. Other little practical touches include a cup holder, just the one, as presumably the driver is too busy to need liquid refreshment, a 12-volt socket for plugging in electrical paraphernalia, and a small well between the front seats which is perfectly sized for a smartphone. Overall, the interior seems designed in such a way as to make it clutter-free to preserve the minimalist feel of the cabin. Safety. As a model from a low-volume manufacturer, Ferrari 458 Spider safety credentials are exempt from the auspices of the crash testing experts at Euro NCAP. This isn't to say that the Spider is unsafe, far from it, simply that there's no independent comparison with other cars available. Complementing the driver and passenger rear bags are a raft of electronic safety measures, the effects of which can be lessened by turning the racing Manettino dial on the steering wheel from wet through to escape off where there's no electronic intervention at all. In normal road conditions it makes sense to restrict oneself to wet, sport or race, particularly while you're familiarizing yourself with the car's high-speed nature and playful rear-wheel drive handling. Ensuring power is delivered as effectively, and therefore as safely, as possible is a sophisticated system encompassing F1 track to minimize wheel spin and F3 to direct a greater torque to the rear wheel which has the most traction. Carbon ceramic brakes help deliver impressive stopping power, particularly effective for scrubbing off high speeds very quickly, without suffering significant brake fade or reduced effectiveness when very hot. Reliability. Given how relatively few examples there are on the road, it's difficult to independently judge Ferrari 458 Spider reliability, but there are signs that it's a very positive outlook. Overall, the general fit and finish of the 458 is excellent. It uses high-quality materials, an impressive level of build quality and craftsmanship, combined with mechanical and electronic components which have proven relatively issue-free when seeing service in other models. Given too that Ferrari shows confidence in its products with a warranty that covers expensive mechanical components for up to 12 years, it's safe to assume the 458 Spider should prove to be a soundly reliable sports car purchase.